Hey, shalom, everybody. Shalom. How y'all doing out there? This is Achoti Town. Achoti Speaks. Grand Rising. I know some of y'all saying, wow, Achoti, this is different. Yeah, this is different. This is much different. I like to be different from time to time. But yeah, I just want to put you guys at ease. If you are tuning in from on the job and listening in, I thank you for joining me this morning. It's a.m. Grand Rising to y'all coming in. Let's talk over some coffee. Those of y'all that are taking coffee comes up, you know. And then for those that's on those herbs, those herbal teas, teacup up to you. Once again, I am a coachee. I'm a color speaks. Now, this is different. I'll try to do these on weekday mornings. I'm not going to commit to a particular time because sometimes a coachee may be feeling something different in the morning, and so I'm not going to commit to a time. But tell you one thing for sure, two things about it is that go over to um, my YouTube page. I gotta do that. Is that page, Achoti Speaks, and go to the community tab. That's where I post upcoming sessions of coffee, herbs, and the coachee weekday morning. You'll see the post there. See, for those of you who are watching, just share that tab. That's where you'll see when I'm going live. Usually, maybe the day before, sometimes the morning of. How's everybody feeling out there? Hope everyone is doing well and in good health. Speaking of good health, I want to say prayers up for Grandmaster J. John Fitzgerald Johnson. I received a notice via email from the GoFundMe account saying that he did undergo some serious surgery and that he's going to need prayers for recovery. So please keep him in your prayers and your thoughts, uplift him in his time of need. Yeah. So I know you guys probably don't have much time, and I'm not going to keep you. But as you get settled into your job or out there just driving around, headed to your next destination, your peace of will not be with you. But I'm not going to hold you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get into the topic of discussion. Number one reason Sheriff Chitwood is Othal Wallace. That's going to go without saying. The reason for this video is to discuss the Senate bill that's now being referred to committee for further hearings on. It was a Senate Bill 1092 introduced by one other than Mr. Florida State Representative Jonathan Martin. And as you can see here, early life in Cherokee, Iowa, from Stinson University. He's a Republican. So looks like he spent his career as being an attorney. He served as an assistant state attorney for the 20th Judicial Circuit, Florida, and then he worked at a private attorney firm. Why am I talking about this individual? Because I just want y'all to find out who is responsible for this bill that was introduced just for the end of the year. And now it is yesterday, which is the 4th, January 4th. Um, so I got a message saying the sound quality. Let me check the sound. Did the sound get better? Put a 1 in the chat if the sound is better. If you guys are watching and you can put a 1 in the chat, let me know if the sound is better now. Because it's apparent that these people are trying to play a game, um, and trying to fool us into believing that the one is not tied to the other. Put a 1 in the chat if I can be heard, please. 100. Okay, cool. So Jonathan Martin, a politician, senator, introduced this bill into Congress just in December 27th, and it was referred to criminal justice appropriations committee on criminal and civil justice and fiscal policy committees. So it's referred out to committee. Here's the actual bill itself. Now, we're not going to get into a whole lot of legalities because I am not an attorney, but I just wanted to show y'all what's in the bill and how it could affect your constitutional Fourth Amendment right moving forward. How this severely guts the Fourth Amendment. This is an act relating to criminal offenses against law enforcement officers and other personnel, providing short title, amending Senate Bill or Act 776.051 for the statute, revising a prohibition on the use or threatened use of force to resist arrest or detention, amending 782.065 Florida statute providing for enhanced punishment for additional offenses when committed against specific officers or specified officers. Enhanced punishment for additional offenses. Revising applicability. Amending 784.07 of Florida statute, revising the definition of the term law enforcement officer, revising provisions concerning assault or battery upon specified officers and other personnel, amending 843.01, revising a provision concerning resisting, obstructing, or opposing specified officers, providing an effective date. So basically, they are trying to restrict your freedom of movement, right? And your freedom to plead the Fifth Amendment. You have the right to remain silent, right? Those are your Miranda rights, right? And because if a police officer approaches you and and you choose not to engage with them, he can say that that's obstructing justice and go ahead and arrest you. And now you can't even resist that unlawful arrest. So are we living in a police state? This act may be cited as the Officer Jason Raynor Act. Now, for those of you who are new and who do not know who Officer Raynor is, Officer Raynor is the deceased police officer who lost his life as a result of an altercation engagement with Mr. Othal Ozone Wallace, who was sentenced to 30 years on a manslaughter charge. He is now appealing that sentence. He is stating that the altercation between Officer Raynor and himself was self-defense. This act right here just totally obliterates anyone's hope of filing charges against a police officer for acts of self-defense. Right? So basically, if a police officer assaults you, you can't even press charges against them and claim that the altercation happened as a result of self-defense. There's no such thing as you can't fight back. If law enforcement just walk up behind you and hit you upside your head and just knock you out, then there's nothing you can do about it. You're just supposed to take that and just get arrested. You can't defend yourself against. You don't have a human right to just defend yourself. We're gonna leave it up to the state to defend us. But basically, this is what this act that this gentleman is proposing in the Senate of Florida, in the state of Florida, which is where Othal Wallace is located in prison right now, awaiting his appeal. This bill is trying to be rushed through. It was just submitted to the floor on December 27th of 2023. It's already made it to several different committees, from the floor to being referred to all these different committees. Which was this bill read by a full House? A full Senate to refer this over to a committee. The reason why I'm asking is because this same Mr. Jonathan Martin, who proposed this bill, also sits on these committees in which they were referred out to. So here, citation. Let me see. Is this what I wanted to see? Citations. So these are the citations that he's using to justify his claim that these laws should be changed. Bill text 1. I am looking for. Oh, here it is. It's referred to the Criminal Justice Committee, Appropriations Committee on Criminal and Civil Justice, and also on the Fiscal Policy. Well, let's see who chairs the Criminal Justice Committee. Well, lo and behold, is Mr. Senator Jonathan Martin, the architect of the bill. It was hurried on over to the Committee on Criminal Justice, and he's the chair, along with the vice chair, Senator Jennifer Bradley, who's also a Republican. So let's see if this bill makes it gets a positive vote to move forward from the Committee on Criminal Justice with markups. We got to definitely pay attention to the markups that these senators place on these bills as well. So let's go back and check out the Appropriations Committee. That's where they're going to actually get the money to make sure that these police officers are covered. Well, who's the chair? Senator Jennifer Bradley. You see what I'm saying? Do you see the foxhole trot that this bill is going down? Right? Coffee cups up. Thank y'all for joining me. I had to take a sip. All right, so let's continue to connect the dots. Now, why would you think that a sheriff would be so interested in saying that he supports this bill? Why would Sheriff Chitwood of Volusia County Sheriff Department be so interested in making sure that this bill is passed and supporting it in such a vocal way? So a part of this bill, it says for murder, section 782.065. Let me share my screen here. It says murder, law enforcement officer, correctional probation officer, notwithstanding SS section as subsection 775.082 and 775.0823, 782.04, 782.051 in chapter 921, a defendant shall be sentenced to life imprisonment without eligibility for release upon findings that the trier of fact beyond a reason the trying fact that beyond a reasonable doubt the defendant committed murder in the first degree in violation of section 782.04 and the death sentence was not imposed, murder in the second or third degree in violation of the section, or attempted murder in the first or second degree in violation of the section, or attempted felony murder in violation. Now, here's where our brother Othal Wallace comes in. Manslaughter in violation of the section, or a felony resulting in the death of a law officer as defined in section 943.10. Now, will this law, if passed, in the government and then the Governor DeSantis signs it into law, the question would be, will this law become be retroactive in effect? Will this affect Brother Othal's appeal, or will he be grandfathered in under the existing statutes as it stands that you are able to use as a defense against an arrest, self-defense against a law officer? I mean, like, I'm not a lawyer. I say again, I'm not a lawyer, but it's my understanding that that is your human right, the self-defense, if you've been illegally or unlawfully detained by someone who holds themselves out to be acting in the capacity of a police officer who's there to uphold the laws. And in fact, in engaging with you, he's actually breaking the law. So at that point in time, he's now considered a criminal, and I have a right to defend myself from such criminal acts. So what this bill is proposing is to take away that criminal act. And I think that the reason why I'm pointing you all to Othal Wallace is because of who endorsed this bill. And that would be none other than Sheriff Chitwood of the Volusia County Sheriff Department. And I wanted to go to the news article that was written, and I wanted you guys to hear what he had to say. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and refresh this tab. Let's see if I can refresh it, because I want to be able to play the video. Okay, so it says here, Florida legislator files Officer Jason Raynor Act after slaying Daytona Beach officer. Senate Bill 1092 would make it illegal to use force against an officer during an arrest. Um, so skip ad. Okay, not sure why it stopped playing. I'm gonna wait on the page. And while we're waiting on the page, let's just go ahead and declare fair use, as this is our commentary uh, on this news story that was broadcast by Channel 6 News. I believe this is in Volusia County. Okay, so we're having trouble with that tab. But let's just go ahead and talk about Sheriff Chitwood in the meantime. Let's see here. So this is the same gentleman. This is the same gentleman that um, that had a whole bunch to say about NFAC, the Not Effing Around Coalition. He had a lot to say. He had a lot to say about that organization, the Not Effing Around Coalition, in fact. And so just recently, he had a lot to say about this new bill that this Senator Martin has proposed. Uh, now it's in conference, right? It's got to go through all these different hearings and committees before it's actually passed and passed down to the House to vote on. So Sheriff Chitwood previously came out really strong against the jury verdict of giving Othal Wallace a manslaughter charge. He was basically saying that the jury was basically un-American. He disagreed with them giving a manslaughter charge. He felt like that Othal Wallace should have been given first-degree murder charges and therefore the death penalty. That's what Sheriff Chitwood is advocating. And because of that, because of his sentiment, his just adamant posturing that anyone who goes against a police officer and claims self-defense should be tried by a police officer and imprisoned based on what a police officer says is the crime, even though that police officer has a history of doing bad acts and also clearly from the video engaged in bad actions as well. So this sheriff is upholding the bad actions of many people who wear uniforms, who hold themselves out to be the protectors of the public, who are not. So the defense attorney calls for Volusia Sheriff Mike Chitwood's comment on about the jury being un-American. That's what he said once the jury could not come back on a first degree murder charge, second degree murder charge. He said, and then there was nothing else. It wasn't a such thing as an acquittal option, so it was a manslaughter charge, right? That was given. But Mr. Wallace is appealing right now. But in the meantime, they're slamming down this bill and wanting us not to think anything about it. Not saying that we do not have a right to resist, basically, because I'm going to remind y'all what he said about in fact. Okay, and this is during the time when they were looking for our brother, right? So this is what was reported back then. Before suspect Othal Ozone Wallace shot Daytona Beach police officer Jason Raynor, Wallace pulled the power cord on the officer's body camera, according to Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood. He said before he shot Officer Raynor, he pulled the cord on the body camera. This is what he said before the trial ever happened. And as a result of the trial coming out, there's nothing mentioned of Ozone taking somebody's body camera video apart. This man blatantly started putting out lies immediately when they were looking for Othal. This is personal. This is not about justice. This is personal. The move, Chitwood said in an interview Saturday, is just one of those tactics taught by the NFAC, the Not Effing Around Coalition, a black nationalist militia that has made its presence known at marches across the South starting in 2020. Wallace's social media accounts indicated his connection with, in fact, those accounts have been taken down. He was captured early Saturday morning in a treehouse, and y'all know the story, how the story went down. But Mr. Chitwood went on to say, did he go on to say in this article? He went on to say that groups like militia groups like that is in danger to the whole society. Right? This is what Chitwood had to say. Not quite sure if this is in this article, but you guys can read the whole article in its entirety online in News Journal. I think I just lost it. So anyway, the screen is acting funny, but you get the point. So Chitwood wants Othal to go down. He really wants Othal to go down. So this is personal. He didn't butt it up with this guy who's an attorney, who's been an attorney all his life. All of a sudden he gets to Congress, and now him and Sheriff Chitwood gonna come up with the Officer Raynor's bill, Officer Raynor Act, to use that act to take away your Fourth Amendment right. You ain't gonna have the right to say self-defense. You're not gonna have the right to say self-defense. So the number one reason why Sheriff Chitwood is supporting this Senate Bill 1092 presented by the senator from Florida, Jonathan Martin, is because Chitwood has a personal vendetta against our brother Othal Wallace, because he actually had an encounter with law enforcement, claimed self-defense, did not take a plea deal. I don't even know if they offered one, but he wasn't going to take one anyways, because he said he was innocent. He's been saying he's innocent from the start. And I'm so glad and so proud that he got an opportunity to tell his side of the story. And so grateful for us not having to appeal a death penalty charge as opposed to a manslaughter charge. Not saying by far that it's over and that we are out of the clear. We still need to continue to raise funds. The type of things that they're doing with the pen. This is how they're trying to beat us with the pen. So we have to continue to pray that this law is not made retroactive to anybody appealing right now, or anybody who's moving, that's already sentenced, right? So, that's where our prayers need to be. And, we have to definitely, if you're still in this, in this election, if you're in Florida and you're participating in this upcoming election, especially if you're in Volusia County, you need to get the word out that Mike Chitwood, who's supposed to be so liberal and supposed to be so for the people, but are definitely trying to keep people like you and I locked up and being, and most times, injured, sometimes fatally, you know, just life over at the hands of these officers. And all they can say is, I fear for my life, and think that that's cool, and think that that's all we have to do. That's all we have to do is just sit back and take their abuse, and they can say, I fear for my life, as an excuse as to why they took yours. But you don't have a right to defend yours. So it's been proven too many times that a lot of us are locked up on bogus charges. How many times we've been arrested, accosted, abducted, kidnapped, thrown into these jailhouses, and then they drop the charges and nothing happens. So you just threatening my livelihood because now I can't go to work because I'm in prison. I'm in your jail, and then you just drop the charges and you ain't got to pay nothing. Nah, Slim. That just don't add up. Coffee cups up. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. So Debbie, I'm going to the chat. Debbie, I did only thing I know about Grandmaster Jay is that he's recovering from a severe surgery. I mean, a very serious surgery. And that that he wants us to continue to pray for him, as well as write him to uplift his spirits as well. That's the only update I know, and I received that information. For those of you who wasn't able to join me at the beginning of the show, I received that information via email from the GoFundMe. So if you ever donated to Grandmaster Jay, then they send those updates on his condition, through that website. So the site for fundraiser manager, Eleanor Harvey, she does a good job of keeping the community updated on his conditions. And right now I heard that he's resting and he's trying to heal, and asks for continued prayer. So prayers up for Grandmaster Jay and his healing. So Nathaniel's in the house. Oh, Sister Debbie, thank you for coming through. So Nathaniel's in the house, and he says, and that's why I find this whole case so BS. Did Ozone really shot, or did they just make this up? Just like the exonerated 5 who were youngsters that went in jail for a crime they did not commit. Well, my brother, so we gonna wait to see how our brother Ozone's appeal process works out. Definitely 30 years on manslaughter charges, and with the self-defense case that he has, that's so strong and so obvious, that that Mr. Raynor broke several policing protocols, on that evening, that the evening question. So that I'm just saying that self-defense could have came in order, but like I said, the business of the day is that this bill, Senate Bill 1092, Florida State Senate Bill 1092, is making its way through these hearings. I'm going to continue to keep my eye on Congress to see like when these hearings are going to be scheduled, for this, to deal with this particular bill, and see if I can get a camera feed to actually record and be a witness to them making this decision, and how the language that they use, and what case law they're going to present in order to change the statutes, right? So Congress make the laws, and your congressmen in each individual state has a constitution that they have to abide by. Um so we'll see how that goes. Debbie said, FYI, I called the prison and did a welfare check on GMJ. They stated he's in good health, and asked them about his recovery from surgery. They stated GMJ has not had surgery. Well, I mean, sister, all I can tell you is that that's what the GoFundMe is saying. Yes, Ms. Washman, good to see you in the chat, my sister. Yes, the proposed bill is unconstitutional. Yes, it is a violation of your Fourth Amendment right. You have a right to resist. You have a right to not be unreasonably searched. You have a right to, you know, to plead the fifth. That's the Fifth Amendment. You have a right to not to self-incriminate yourself. You have all these rights, and they're saying if when it comes down to you engaging with our law enforcement officers, you just must do what they say do. You must just obey. That's what they want y'all to do. Just obey. Just shut up. Don't say nothing. Just obey. Just obey. So family, yeah, just continue to keep brother Othal in your prayers. Thank y'all for coming through. Shalom, Sister Dee Dee Taylor. I believe it was Sister Dee Dee that told me about this story, and I immediately did my research, and I was trying to play that video for you all where Chitwood was saying that he's so excited about this bill finally making its way through, and he hopes that it passes. Yeah, because like I said, we have to pray that this bill does not apply to current people that are waiting to appeal on matters of self-defense, because if it doesn't, then that's another, we're going to definitely have to go to the United States Supreme Court, because that is the definite, like Ms. Washman said, is the proposed bill is unconstitutional per the U.S. Constitution. No bill should be drafted to violate constitutional rights. It's time for we the people to stand. That's right. That's exactly why I wanted to bring attention to this, because I'm like, wait, hold up. You can't really do that, because you're violating my human right to move about freely. That's why you're able to ask a police officer, am I free to go? If he can't articulate a crime of any suspicion of a crime being done, then you don't have to stand there and talk to him. That's your First Amendment right, your Fourth Amendment right, and your Fifth Amendment right. He can't detain you just because he wants to talk to you and you don't want to talk to him or her. That's unconstitutional. So understand, ask them, they roll up on you, ask them, am I being detained? And if they say I'm being detained, they say yes you are, then you say, then I plead the fifth. I have nothing to say. I will not be answering any questions. And let them do what they must from there. That's just to save life and limb, right? But then if your life is being threatened, if they just start wailing on you and abusing you for no reason, just because you want to say I want to plead the fifth and I don't want to talk to you, then guess what? Yeah, you have every right to fight back. What the heck? Like, I'm just saying, I ain't trying to advocate violence against police officers, but I'm saying I love me more than I love the police officer who I don't even know, who is violating my space. Who is assaulting me. If you're trying to arrest me and you can't articulate what I've done wrong, then you're violating my constitutional rights and my right as a human being. Don't touch me. You're violating me. At that point, that becomes assault on me. So no, I don't give a cop that much discretion to put his hands all up on my person for no apparent reason. Enough is enough. And this Senate bill is real. It's working. Like I said, it's going to committee, and they're really trying to do this in the state of Florida. And I think I know who's behind it is Sheriff Chitwood. If y'all live in Florida, please, like, tell all your peoples, like, this dude needs to be found out. They got this one particular Facebook channel that's just dedicated to exposing him, exposing Sheriff Chitwood, and exposing him. And the latest was just done on January 3rd. David Cooper says Sheriff Chitwood has given his nephew a free pass when his 40-some-year-old nephew attacked an almost 70-year-old man in a Walmart. The sheriff went on TV calling the old man a criminal, saying that they should lock him up and throw away the key. The older man defended himself and was arrested for battery with a deadly weapon. I personally sat through his trial. The judge in the case was nasty and unprofessional and needs to be removed from the bench. Based on a partial video of the incident, the older man was convicted of the crime and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Chitwood has deputies that are not paying court ordered child support, and he shields them from being caught. Chitwood is not the nice man that the media portrayed him to be. He is a tyrant and needs to be gone. He has the media, especially Welsh Channel 2 News, in his pocket. People should not be afraid of the police, but should look to them for safety and protection. We live in a dictatorial society where the sheriff makes all the laws and we must obey. See? That part. See, the sheriff is actually working with this guy, Jonathan Martin, and getting this law, drafting this law, because he's already said that, he think that people who put the who offend police officers, who defend themselves against police officers, people who exhibit that type of behavior should be jailed. And if they just happen to kill a police officer, they will face the death penalty. That's it. Death penalty or life in prison without the possibility of parole. That was, in other words, they're framing it so that those jury instructions, that's so important, will only discuss two options: first-degree murder with the death penalty, or first-degree murder and life in jail with no possibility of ever getting out. So it seems like to me that writing a bill like that and passing a bill like that give these crooked police officers, these bad state actors, permission to do whatever they want to do to you when they so-called are detaining you or arresting you. That means that if they feel like you actually recording their bad behavior that they're putting on someone else and you're recording, they can go after you and jail you, and you can't even defend your right to record the incident. This goes deep. This gives them so much discretion. So much discretion. And so if Florida passes such a law, then please believe these other state legislatures are going to start looking for such a law to pass as well. That's why it's imperative that you keep your eyes out on what these people are doing when they so-called want to be acting in the best interest of all Americans, but seem like we're always coming up on the short end of the stick. Not even enough to lick any kind of ice cream, any kind of lollipop, just nothing. But more laws on the books on the criminal side. They come up with these laws quick, but they can't come up with something to fix the immigration problem that they have. They don't want to concentrate on that, but they want to focus on why don't they have a criminal meeting about how these southern states are still reaping the benefits from slave labor. That was criminal. What that was criminal. So let's move that hearing. Let's have that hearing in the criminal justice part. Hold yourselves accountable. So they're trying to kill you off or enslave you for good in advance, which gives the police officers every right to do make whatever arrest they can make to fill these jails, put bogus charges on you, You don't even have, if you indigenous and you don't have a way to pay, then you're gonna be sold down the river. Stick it in, and that's when they'll stick them plea deals in your face. Talk about, well, take 50 years instead of life. Well, shit, if you're 30 years old, 50 years is life. You understand what I'm saying? Shit, I'm 50 right now. They give me 50 years. That's life. But these bills are certainly going to be duplicated throughout the United States. Tell them Achoti said that. If this bill passes, the Florida Senate, goes to the House, passes the House, Governor DeSantis is going to sign it in a hurry. He's going to sign it in blue ink, make sure his signature stays on there forever. You heard me? If they pass it, please believe in these other states, they're going to pass it too. Coffee cups up. Ms. Washman said, it is time for face-to-face meets without electronics or recording devices. Separation is mandatory. Nathaniel says, from our peoples. Well, I don't understand Nathaniel. I don't know if he's asking the question or not. We must resist. Our brother is the only person who has ever been charged on probabilities and hypotheticals. Right. Like, what's the probable cause? Like, that was never established. So, there's so many different things that was flawed at that trial. So it's just ridiculous. Like, it was a dog and pony show. They're doing this for political clout. Mr. Chitwood is trying to be Sheriff Chitwood is trying to be hard, looked at as being hard on crime, so that he can be reelected. I don't know what this guy trying to prove in the Senate, unless he's some kind of distant cousin of Chitwood. You know what I'm saying? Like, but chances are he's had some dealings with Chitwood as an attorney, as a trial attorney, working at the state U.S. Department, of the state for attorney generals or whatnot. That was this guy's history, this senator's history. He's an attorney. So he was an attorney in Florida. So I'm guaranteeing that they didn't have some run-ins. They didn't did some dealings, been on some trials together, and they know each other. They're well acquainted with one another is what I'm really trying to say, y'all. So don't favors. And this hatred that this man has, Mr. Chitwood looks like he's relentlessly trying to go after our brother Othal Wallace. He's targeting him, and he's trying to make him an example to further along his deep-seated hatred and racist behavior, as well as his bid to be to remain in office as sheriff. So they're soaking it up. I never seen a sheriff's department, and I know that this is him posting. He spent too much time on Facebook. He got too much time. Everything that happens in that county, he posted it up on Facebook. He got too much time on his hands, and so definitely need to do something about him and expose him for his dirty acts and what he's doing. He went on a whole tirade against the reporter who was reporting on Othal's case, just giving the honest facts about what was transpiring. He goes to bat. He goes at that guy, trying to get him fired from the newspaper. Then going to say the whole newspaper is trash. Just ignorant, just unprofessional, just behavior that's unbecoming to a sheriff, right? So this dude is a thug, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, and that's the honest truth. Like I see it to be. So with that being said, my family, I do appreciate y'all. Like I said, I can't make any promises to when I'm gonna do the next morning rant. I appreciate y'all listening. I appreciate y'all watching on the replay. Give me a thumbs up on the video if you think it's worthy, if I expose some things, if you learn some things about Jonathan Martin and Senate Bill 1092, along with Sheriff Chitwood. Did I connect the dots? Let me know. Family. Share the video. And look out on my community tab on my website. I'm sorry, on my YouTube page. Look under the community tab, and um, you'll see the time if I'm going to go live. You'll get a notification if you're subscribed, and we'll meet again and talk about another important topic. Once again, go to othal.org. Don't forget to do that. Go to othal.org and make a donation because the brother is literally fighting for his life again. Um, just when you think, you know, you're making headways, they constantly trying to throw something at you. But I tell you what, my people, as long as we keep the Most High first and stand up for righteousness' sake, if nothing else, I think that we're going to come out every battle victorious. So trouble don't last always. It's my motto. Once again, I thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for being here with my first episode of Coffee, Herbs, and Achoti on weekday mornings. But I can't guarantee y'all what time. But just look for the notification. And I appreciate y'all. And take care of yourself and each other. And as usual, I love you all with the love of Yahuwah. Coffee cups up.